And hello, everybody. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live. It's great to have you with us. We are broadcasting all around the world. Light, levity, and love, or as we call it recently, lovity. It's good to have you with us. Hope your day is going well. We toast to all of you like we do all the time on our show. We always welcome our viewers from all around the world because we do have an international audience here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Good to have you with us. I toast you and you and you and you and you. It's a pleasure to have you here. Hope you have your drink, whether it's H2O just to keep cold, nice and cool, or maybe some orange juice, or maybe martini. Whatever it is, have it handy so you can enjoy with us this wonderful episode we have with John BUCCHINO, who is a phenomenal and renowned songwriter, musician, pianist, performer. He has penned so many songs and so much material. We're going to be for decades, and we'll be talking about that in just a minute. We're going to be sharing music with you as well. That's right. He is on location in Arizona, and we're going to be sharing his stories and talking about his incredible career in music. And we have lots of material to share with you as well. So how is everybody doing? Your friends are here. Yes, we have our cast of characters, which everybody loves. George Burns is here. George says hello to all of you. There, he's got his cigar. George is here. We've got Jeannie here for you as well. I know everybody loves to see Jeannie. You can probably see her right there saying hello. And we also have Silver with us as well. We got this on a television shoot. Silver we got in Switzerland, and everybody looks for Silver. So Silver is here saying hello. And everybody has fallen in love with Silver, who's sort of like our mascot here on the show. And then we have another friend here. Again, we're all about putting smiles on your face. Jimmy is here, and Jimmy says hello to all of you as well. So all the cast of characters are here. And as always, I tell you, I really need to be an octopus or have, several more higher tables. The Jim Masters Show Live begins with lights, camera, and action. We like to go Hollywood here on the show. Again, this is an entertainment lifestyle talk show series now in our 12th week. As you know, I'm a professional television and radio host, journalist, actor, voiceover artist, narrator, writer, producer, stage MC. I've been doing television and radio for many years, network television, local, regional television, international television as well. And we welcome our guests from all around the world, as well as our viewers. It's fantastic to have you here. As I mentioned, we have a renowned guest here on the show. It's a pleasure to have him here. And we're going to say hello to all of our audience. We're so happy to welcome the audience. It's a very interactive show. Todd is here. Welcome, Todd, your very first time. I'm your host, Jim Masters. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live. It is a pleasure and an honor to have you joining us here on the program. Nice to see you watching on the YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV. We appreciate that. If you give us some subscription and some love, we would love it. If you have a channel, we'll subscribe to you back. Renee is here in Iowa. Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. It's good to see you, Renee. We love your passion. You are our official viewer of the week, so we are celebrating you as well, and continue to do that all week as you wear that crown proudly. And Todd, let us know where you're watching from, what city, what town, what country. Be nice to know. And we have people, this is an international broadcast. We broadcast out of the New York City area, greater New York, between New York and Boston on the coast. That's where we originate here in the United States of America. Merlin is watching. Hi, Jim. Welcome to your living room. Welcome to our home studio as well, Merlin. Good to see you there in Innerkip, Ontario, Canada. Again, this show is all about light, levity, and love. This is what I do as a host on this show. And this is our 12th week, and it's been extraordinary. Thank you for all the love, all the posts, all the sharing, all the tags, having watch parties, you guys. And the show is just continuing to grow by leaps and bounds, and we really appreciate that. How does it grow further? You keep telling everybody about it. Keep watching, keep tuning in. Like the Facebook page at Jim Masters TV, subscribe to the YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV, and tell everybody about it. Share the lovity right here on the show. Good evening, Mr. Lovity. Speaking of lovity, good evening, everybody. Linda watching in Florida. Nice to see you in Florida. Probably hot and humid. It's very hot up here in the Northeast. Air conditioners are going at full tilt here in the Northeast right now. Good evening, Mr. Lovity. Thank you very much. We love that from Linda. And hello, everyone. Welcome to Lovity Hall with Mr. Lovity. I said we're going to get t-shirts and mugs. We're working on that. And caps that say that. Danilo in beautiful San Diego, California. It's wonderful to see you as well. You've been very active. I love the fact that you watch us, Danilo, because you've been posting all day on my Facebook pages and I see everything. And you've been sharing the links and you've been telling everybody about the show. And that is beautiful. We really appreciate that. So thanks for everything you're doing there on the West Coast, telling all your West Coast buddies about our show. We love that. The more the merrier. The more people will enjoy the light, love, and levity, or lovity as we call it here in our circle of lovity. Willie is watching in Holland. Good to see you, Willie. Thanks for joining us here on the show. There are your Dutch flowers. Nice to see that you're up and awake and joining us, Willie, there in the beautiful Netherlands. And nice to have Merlin cheering with us as we just toasted all of you as well. You guys are toasting back. Thank you very much, Renee. We love the toast. I wonder what you have in the, boy, it looks like you've got 4 glasses there. What could be in those glasses? Cheers. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate that. Good to see you again on YouTube. You're cheering with your H2O. Yes, got to have a lot of water. It's pretty hot right now, and especially along the eastern seaboard. But our guest, John, is saying he's in Arizona, and it's really hot there too, and humid, which usually it isn't in Arizona. But crazy weather, crazy times we're living in. Cheers with your water. Hi, Jim and all. Christine Fairwood in Connecticut. Thank you very much as well. Lots of comments here. We're going to run through just a few more, and then we will welcome our wonderful guests, and we're honored to have them here on the show. Kathleen Walker. Hi, Jim. Here with your mom, Elvira. It's her birthday. She's 86. Today's the birthday. Wow, that's right. I knew the birthday was coming up. So we'll do flowers for your fabulous mother, Elvira. And hope she's doing well, and I hope she's in good spirits. I know, things have been a little interesting lately. So hello to your Elvira. You have a beautiful and wonderful and talented and spirited and loving daughter, Kathleen. And of course, she and I appeared on the Rachel Ray show together, which was a lot of fun in New York City. We got to do that again, Kathleen. So I just want to say happy birthday to Kathleen's wonderful mother. And everybody, why don't you join me? We've done this before. Why don't you join me in wishing Elvira, Kathleen Walker, who's in New York City. I call her the Queen of Queens, New York. Wish her a very happy birthday. Again, this is a very interactive show. And some shows aren't, but I'm that way in my professional work as well. I love to be interactive with viewers and listeners and everybody who takes the time to watch the show and to follow me in my other professional work as well. So with that, we're going to say happy birthday to Elvira. And let's sing her happy birthday collectively. Okay, everybody? Linda and Merlin and Avril and everybody that I see here. Danilo and Todd. Happy birthday to Kathleen's mother, who turns 86 with a nice smile, and that is terrific. Again, the best to Elvira and to you, Kathleen, and your entire family. So here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Elvira. We love you. You have a wonderful daughter. Happy birthday to you. We love you, Elvira, and we love Kathleen. Happy birthday. Your friend and host, Jim Masters, singing you happy birthday live, and it's a pleasure. And no tip jar needed. Have a wonderful day, and I hope you're eating lots of cake. Merlin, Linda Odell, me too, having H2O. Linda Hutchinson, good evening, everyone. Sweet tea, as always, from Alabama. Good to see you. You love the hat? Terrific. Thank you very much. Yeah, sometimes I have the hat on, sometimes not. I think I started hosting this show with the hat on. The only time I get to wear a hat on professionally is when I do the lifestyle travel TV series that airs on the CW and CBS affiliates, because we're going on to destinations and we're cooking food with chefs. I don't think I've ever worn the hat on PBS or the news magazine show I host in New York, the TV show. Probably not, but on this show we do. And thank you very much for loving the hat. I'm a hat collector. If you remember when we had guitarist John LaBarbera on, brilliant guitarist, we did a wonderful show with him. He took out his whole hat collection too, and he and I have been friends for years, and he brought out all those different guitars. He's got like 100 different kinds of guitars. It was really amazing. But he showed us some of his hat collection, and he and I have always compared notes with our hats. And welcoming Todd as well, and Avril. Hope you had a good day today. Yes, we are having a good day. I know it's after midnight there in England, in United Kingdom. Hopefully it's not raining there like it was yesterday for you when you chimed in on our show. And I hope you're having a beautiful day as well. Thanks for being here. And I appreciate the fact that you're here like every night. We do this show just about every night, not once a week or twice a week or once a month. We're here every single night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific live. A lot of work goes on behind the scenes here to put this together. But knowing you're here in Great Britain, and Merlin's watching in Canada, and Linda's in Florida, and Renee's in Iowa, and Danilo's in San Diego, and everybody watching, it makes it all fun and worth it. So you're welcome. Todd Ernestine's watching in a very hot and humid North Carolina. Hope your day is a good one as well. It's even better now that you're here, Ernestine. Hello to Jim and friends. We thank you very much. Linda wishing Kathleen's mother, Elvira, happy birthday. That's very nice. Marilyn watching in Wichita, Kansas. Good to see you once again, Marilyn. We love having you here on the show. It's a pleasure having you here. And as you know, we've also been paying homage to a dear friend, Regis Philbin, who we lost over the weekend. And as a professional television broadcaster myself for years, and TV and radio personality, it still stings for everybody that Regis is gone, because he was such a personality and so warm and funny and witty. And, a lot of people have mentioned similarities between me and him in terms of coming from New York and just being sort of animated. And he and I talked about that once, and he had said the same thing, which is kind of cool. I pay homage to Regis and Dick Clark and Dick Cavett and Johnny Carson and Mike Douglas and Merv Griffin, and some of the ones who sort of paved the way for hosts like myself in television and radio. And we've been really sharing, some wonderful memories. And again, we've been paying respects continually all week and paying homage to wonderful Regis. Again, really an extraordinary person and an extraordinary host. And just want to do that once again. The world is still feeling the impacts of the loss of Regis Philbin. And again, he was a wonderful friend and broadcast colleague, and still very, very missed. And we've had an opportunity to, commence and converse on multiple occasions. And he will be missed. He really was somebody very, very special. So those of you who've commented that you're missing Regis Philbin, I'm right there with you. Happy Tuesday to you, Marilyn, there in Kansas. We love having you there in Kansas. Again, I remember I was on that TV shoot a couple years ago in Kansas. We hope to get back. Christopher Baker, good to have you here. And Todd, you're in Raleigh, North Carolina. Glad to see you in Raleigh. Wonderful place. Jeff Dwoskin in Michigan, just outside Detroit. Is it Lovity or Lovity? I know we took a poll with the viewers, and I let them decide. At first I did Lovity, but then we added the E, because we want the E. We want the full word love to stay intact, even though grammatically, I before E, except after C and all of that. Hey, with everything we've been dealing with the last couple of months, who cares? All right. So we're going to keep the E in there. So there is your answer for that wonderful word. A couple more. You guys are amazing with these comments. This is really fantastic. I haven't even said anything other than hello, and it's already here. And Merlin already defined it. Well, I appreciate that. Any difference between sweet tea and iced tea? You guys can ask that. Sweet tea is a little bit sweeter. It's very big in the South. They do make sweet tea that has whiskey in it too. Hello and happy birthday to Elvira. Tony watching. Hygiene Tony watching from Stratford, Connecticut. Good to see you in Stratford, Connecticut. Jacqueline is watching. Good to see you as well. Welcome to you as well. You're always here, and I appreciate that. You're like iced tea with no sugar. That's good to know. And happy Tuesday, everyone, to Sharon DeMaria. Beautiful and wonderful Sharon, she's been following me on Facebook for years. She always has wonderful, beautiful posts, and it's nice to see you, Sharon, watching in Connecticut. Jacqueline, sending happy birthday. Jerry Castaldo, wishing happy birthday to Elvira. We should be playing the Elvira song, right? And again, everybody's wishing everybody happy birthday. See, we've got a beautiful crowd of lots of levity here because everybody wishes everybody well, and I think that's wonderful. Look at all this. Really, really nice that you guys are doing that. And Willie watching in the Netherlands, and just all these comments. Really, really wonderful. Happy birthday, Elvira from Danilo. Thank you so much. You loved it. Well, my pleasure to sing your mom happy birthday. And hopefully we'll be breaking bread soon, and I'll give her a big hug and a kiss on her cheek, and I'll sing her happy birthday in person. Hopefully we'll do that soon, and we'll toast with wine. Everybody's saying that. Stratford, Connecticut. It didn't record right. I know I saw the word hygiene. I said, but hygiene is a very good word, Tony, because we all need to wash our hands for 20 seconds. So I know it said hygiene. I was like, hygiene, but wash those hands and go in between and sing happy birthday twice, or you can do it. You don't have to do happy birthday. It could be another song. It is your 48th night watching the show. Wow, we've been here for 12 weeks, but it's your night 48. That is awesome. Appreciate that. 48 straight nights. Wow, that's cool. Watching in Holland at 20 after 1 a.m. Double flowers, Dutch flowers for you, Willie. Thank you very much. Renee is here as well. Renee, good to see you and all the lovities. Watching in New York City, wonderful cabaret star, Renee Katz. We had her on as a guest a couple of weeks ago. Fabulous interview. So many of you loved it. Oh my God, you said my name. Thank you. Well, of course, Jeff Dwoskin. I wish I got paid by the word, right? Good to see you, my friend. And Jeff Dwoskin, Jim, and the community as a whole decided to keep the E, though it's kind of broke the rule, right? And usually I'm not really a rule breaker, but now I've become one. So, lovity it is. You got it. Good stuff, everybody. Now it's time to welcome my very special guest, acclaimed, award-winning, highly revered, renowned songwriter, musician, pianist, performer, somebody that so many people have had an opportunity to work with, some of the greats in theater and film and the music industry, some of the biggest names too he's written music for and has collaborated with. There's no way in the last many decades you have not heard a song done by our very special guest, John BUCCHINO. He is he's somebody who puts all of his heart and soul and energy into his work, and he's doing something really cool right now during this period of being sort of homebound. And it's a really cool project. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. We're also going to share some music with you. Just going to throw this in here. Angela watching in Manila, Philippines. Wow, rainy morning there in Manila. Welcome to the show. You're watching for the very first time in the Philippines. I think that's beautiful. I think that's wonderful. And we welcome you from the Philippines. I mean, we have literally an international audience. Australia, Spain, Italy, Ireland, England, Netherlands, Canada, USA, coast to coast and beyond. Manila, New Zealand. We've heard from Africa, Japan. It's truly amazing. Switzerland. So good to see you in beautiful Manila. Now, let me welcome my very special guest to the show. John, welcome to the show. We're getting all this love from around the world. What a great entrance. Welcome.
You have such a beautiful audience watching these lovely people from all over say nice things and happy birthday, Elvira, and people, Willie from Holland. the Philippines. It's just what you do is absolutely extraordinary. So thank you from all of us, both the artists and it sounds like the lots and lots of people that take great joy from what you're doing every night. How do you do that? It's remarkable.
It is. I appreciate those beautiful words. And a couple more. Christopher in Ohio says hello. And Rini Katz says, John is amazing. I sing his music. He's truly a beautiful writer. So Rini, who's a cabaret performer extraordinaire, and Merlin is in Canada saying hello. Willie in Holland says hello and welcome. Renee in Ohio, in Iowa, that is saying hello as well. So everybody's welcoming you. So before we talk about your fabulous career and your wonderful background, tell us about some exciting news that you told me about just before we went live, a massive undertaking, an extraordinary project that has been afforded you, that is really a grand and great honor to have to be bestowed on you, that you're working on right now through all of this.
Yeah. The Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. has agreed agreed to accept my musical archives. And what that means is, for me, and what the big project is to go through, as I was telling you earlier, go through every song I've ever written. And there are hundreds of them. I started writing in 1969 when I was a teenager, and to get these old, crappy, many of them are not very good demos that I started doing in high school on a little, what's called a sound on sound tape recorder. I don't know if you ever heard that term.
Oh, sure, yeah.
You can't mix. You can't record multi-track, but you can do a rudimentary version of that where you bounce from track to track, and there's no volume control. So the last thing you record is the loudest. So I would always record the vocal last, so that would be in the forefront. Anyway, I've got many of these not very good quality recordings. And thank you, Christopher. Good to see you. And I have been putting them into Pro Tools, or a recording software, and improving them as best I can. And then I'm archiving according to year, and however many songs in a year. They each have a little folder with their lyrics, lyric sheet, and if there is sheet music, I put that in. Most often with the older songs, there's not, because I don't read music. I'm a little better at it now, but I certainly didn't write anything out when I was younger. And putting notes about where I was, where the song was recorded, what was going on in my life. So it is an enormous project I've done now from 1969 through 1997, and not including songs from shows, because I'm going to do those separately. I have between 200 and 300 songs so far, and I'm only up to 1997. So
wow.
It's
basically
a perfect project to be quarantined.
So you've done basically from Lyndon Johnson to Bill Clinton so far.
Very well put. Yes, that's it.
And so tell us about that undertaking. That must be daunting, overwhelming, and extraordinary, but also at the same time, hearing the songs again, the memories that they must be evoking for you, remembering when you wrote it, remembering the response to people hearing it. It must be a flood of extraordinary, overwhelming, and meaningful memory for you as you're doing this project.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. These songs, I'd say, well, since I haven't done shows yet, and I haven't written that many shows, but I'd say 96% of the songs that I've written have been because I felt something, have come out of my own experience of the world, or often lots of, failed romance, as I'm sure lots of people write about. There were a whole lot of I love you, you don't love me, I'm really miserable songs, which when I moved to New York and started writing for theater, it was kind of a relief to get away from just, writing about my own little tragic, romantic life. So yeah, it has been a walk down memory lane. And you say, songs, what the response was. Most of these songs have never been heard. Nobody knows.
So they're still in the vault. They've had them in the vault.
In like trunk songs, I guess, they call them. So, which brings up another project, ongoing thing that I'm doing as a platform through which to share these old songs. And it is my Patreon page, which I don't know, you must know about. Well, I don't know. Do you know about Patreon? What that is?
I haven't involved that quite yet into anything I'm doing. Not yet.
Well, let me share it with you and your listeners, because artists who are of any kind who are tuning in might want to explore this. I found out about it because a brilliant musician named Jacob Collier, if you haven't looked him up, check him out. British kid who's just the most brilliant kid I've ever seen. One of the most brilliant people, musicians, and he was on Patreon. And what it is, I have a Patreon page, and people subscribe to it, and for as little as $2 a month, and they give them, you give them a credit card. And for that subscription, basically, it's a way to support the work of artists that you admire, and monetarily, but also to tap into things that work of theirs at a deeper level that you might not otherwise experience. And that is what I'm doing. Is chronologically, I think I'm up to 1977 or something on the Patreon page. I've got like 40 or 50 songs. One of the things that I'm posting is the songs, some of the songs that I'm finding, some of the demos with lyric sheets and notes about, where I was when I wrote them. So it's providing an extra outlet for this material, as well as there's some full concerts that I've put up there. There are anecdotes. I have a series called Then There Was the Time. And it's like, then there was the time Julie Andrews made me breakfast. Then there was the time I did a love scene with Ben Affleck. Quirky, mostly involving famous people, because people like that, and I'm totally into that as well. So should anyone care to check it out, it is patreon.com/John BUCCHINO. And
I get a commission when you mention that on my show.
And I hope you do. And you should maybe think about doing your own Patreon page. I'm sure you would have a lot of material to put up on it. And why not,
That's it, right? Get the good quality material out to everybody. Absolutely, absolutely.
Or certainly people who care and want to dive a little deeper.
Go a little deeper into the process. Absolutely. How did you what was your first inspirations early on in your career, John? Were you always interested in music as a kid? Was your house filled with music? What were those key threads that pointed you in the direction of doing the work that you do so beautifully now?
Thank you. Nobody in my family was musical. My mom, however, wrote poetry, still does, and short stories. In fact, one of the things I've done in quarantine is started a Facebook page for her to share some of her children's stories and things. And she's 89 now. I live with her here in Tucson, and she's thrilled at the opportunity to, share her work with people. So anyway, she's always written poetry. My dad was an accountant. And that sort of, I think, explains how music evolved for me, because they always say that music is very much mathematics. So I would think that, that part of the musical equation came from my dad. And then
Mm-hmm.
the lyric writing, I think, came from my mom, who writes poetry and short stories. But nobody in the family was overtly musical. And luckily, we lived next to my grandmother in South Philly, and both my parents worked. And my grandmother would come and get me every morning and bring me over to her house to look after me.
So
And
you grew up
she,
in South Philly?
in South Philly, yeah.
You know what's one of the greatest songs in Philadelphia that they still use today that has become, it's generic, but it's become so identified with Philadelphia and with the television station, is the action news theme that songwriter and jingle writer Al Ham wrote for Channel 6 WPVI in Philadelphia. That song they have used since, I think, the 60s or 70s, and it's the same theme song. Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. And it's this action news theme that they have used in Philadelphia on the ABC affiliate for like 40 years. And they tried tweaking it, and it actually has vocals to it. It's called Move Closer to Your World. And songwriter Al Ham wrote it. And they tried tweaking it and updating it like in the early 2000s with new instrumentation. The viewers pounded on WPVI and said, do not, we want the original early 70s vocal version for that news theme. And it just shows you the power of a song. And that's the theme for action news. It's amazing.
Not to mention royalties. I think old Al is doing pretty well from that. Good.
That's what happens, right? Yeah, because he's worked with so many people over the years, and then was commissioned to write that theme for their newscast on the ABC affiliate, and it's been going for 40 plus years.
His greatest hit, I'm sure.
Theme music is really amazing, like what happened with Johnny Carson. You remember who wrote the theme to The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson? When Jack Parr was hosting The Tonight Show and leaving, Johnny Carson came in and took it over. And Johnny said to the network, well, I'd like to change the theme. I'd like to have a, sort of a perky theme that people recognize every night. So several people submitted their work as far as a theme. And then Paul Anka submitted a work. And he presented it to Johnny and said, hey, Johnny, I've got a theme. I want you to hear it. Da, 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 da. So then Johnny said, love it. We will use this as the theme to The Tonight Show. And this was like back in the, I don't know, late 60s, 70s maybe. And but the agreement was that Johnny would get, I think, 50% of the cut. So every time that theme ran on The Tonight Show, generated revenue for Paul Anka and for Johnny Carson, and Paul wrote the theme. Da, 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 da. It's all it takes sometimes, right?
Well, like Anne, our friend Anne Hampton Calloway,
she's terrific with that.
Maybe the best theme song ever. It's just brilliant.
She's terrific. She can write something on. You just say banana, and she comes up with a whole song about a banana.
Most astonishing.
I said she should go on that show that Wayne Brady hosted. Whose Line Is It Anywhere? Wayne Brady is that comedian.
Yeah.
Oh, the two of them would be incredible together. Now, are you good with that as well? If somebody throws some things out at you,
no.
You need the time. You've got to think about it and really build it, right?
Ridiculous. It's a sort of painstaking process for me, especially the lyrics, which are what I always write first. Other than once I can think of that I wrote the music first, but otherwise it's always lyrics first. And no, I'm very particular about those. Anne has tried to get me to do that. To do, like, if we're at her house, when we used to be able to be at her house, around the piano. She's like,
there in Arizona, yeah.
Cut loose, and I'm like, I don't know how I can't. No, I can't cut loose.
Have you ever had times where the music came in, the melody came into your head first, and then wrote words to it?
Only once with a song called "A Powerful Man" that's on my Grateful CD. that Jimmy Webb, the wonderful songwriter, sings on it. And that is the only song I can think of. It was music first, and then lyrics. But to answer your old question, which I didn't quite finish with, was my grandmother had a piano that nobody played. She babysat me, and I started playing it when I was like a year old, and just taught myself how to play, and that's how the music started. To finish the answer to that question.
So then, so you had this inspiration early on. How did you foster that? What are some of the things that you did? Did you start to get involved in school plays? What were some of the things you did to really propel yourself forward early on as a kid?
I did funny that you would say that, I did get involved in school plays. We moved to California, to Palm Springs area, when I was 12. And that was quite a shock. We couldn't take my piano. By then I had my own big, giant, upright piano, and we could not afford to bring it with us when we moved to California because we didn't have a lot of money. And so for years, I didn't have a piano. So I taught myself how to play guitar, and a lot of these old demos that I'm refurbishing. Hi, Fred. Hi, Alan. A lot of these old songs that I'm retweaking are on guitar, surprisingly. And the other creative outlet was, in fact, in a high school, to be in the school plays. And it was a joyful outlet, which also helped me to be less painfully shy. And it, that experience fed into, as I'm sure you know, performing and getting over the abject terror at being in front of an audience, which I used to have. To be in a play saying somebody else's words was very, very helpful. So yeah, I did do that. And I started writing when I was like 16 or so. Loved the Beatles and, Paul Simon and James Taylor and Carole King and all those, Joni Mitchell, who I still worship. She's one of my favorites. And it inspired me to express myself through songwriting.
Which is terrific. So it was a twofold thing. You were expressing yourself through the means of your wonderful art, but also as a person, you were growing and becoming more communicative and expressing yourself more, using the art as the way to do it. But then it leads to being that way anyway, which was wonderful, right? It was all incredible. And at the time, it's sort of funny how life throws you curves, as I'm sure you're aware of. I wanted to be Joni Mitchell or Billy Joel or Elton John or one of those piano playing singer-songwriter guys. I was not a great singer. I was an okay singer, but not nothing special in that department. And after high school and after college, I moved up to Los Angeles to try to pursue a career as a singer-songwriter. And nobody was interested, like not even a little bit. I got zero interest from anybody, unfortunately, and kind of kept bashing my head against that wall for years until in 1987, I got a phone call that changed my life from a fellow named Stephen Schwartz. Stephen Schwartz, for those, that's a good call to get.
A really good call to get. I didn't know who he was because I had no connection with theater at all. I just knew that he was some big famous guy, but I hadn't, he wrote Godspell and Pippin and recently Wicked. But nobody had really expressed interest in my writing until him. And he'd heard a song and had to actually accompany a singer playing one of my songs at a benefit in New York, and said, I'm coming out to LA, which is where I lived at the time, and I'd love to meet you. And I was, yeah, sure. Again, any port in a storm. Nobody was interested in what I was doing at all. And here, this big famous guy wanted to meet with me. Mm-hmm. So we got together. He was staying at Dean Pitchford's house, another wonderful songwriter. And we got together at Dean's piano and spent the afternoon sharing songs. Mm-hmm. And I thought, he's very good, this Stephen Schwartz. He's a very good songwriter. And we became instant best friends, which we remain to this day. And he's the first person that encouraged me to think about writing for theater.
Mm. And what a person to do it, right? What an influence.
My life. Yeah. Mm. So all these other doors were slamming in my face. And suddenly, the door to considering writing for musical theater was sort of creaking open a little bit. And a few years later, I moved to New York and jumped at that opportunity.
So what were some of those first projects you worked on once you made it to the Big Apple and had these opportunities?
Well, one of the extraordinary things about moving to New York was, too, that, friends of mine had moved there the year before. Some very dear friends, a singing group called the Tonics. And I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but it was Lindy Robbins, Cortez Alexander, Brian Lane Green, Gene Reed, and eventually Michael Coughlin, but it was, I think, just those four. And they moved to New York, and they were brilliant. And they did, like, for Manhattan Transfer, arrangements of fabulous, of theater songs. And they were on this big Sondheim benefit and performing, and everybody was knocked out. They got into a circle of people when they moved to New York because they were so talented. That included Liza Minnelli and Harold Prince and his family, his daughter Daisy Prince. Jason Robert Brown was their original piano player, their accompanist when he was 19. He was writing, but everybody knew him as the Tonics piano player. So that was pretty amazing. And Adam Gettle, who wrote Light in the Piazza and the Rogers Family. And so it's sort of New York royalty loved my friends, and they were hanging out with these incredibly cool people. Fantastic. And when I moved to New York, suddenly I was hanging out with these incredibly cool people. I was pinching myself. I couldn't believe it. It's like, every weekend we'd go to Liza's and sing around the piano, and it's like, what am I doing?
Where am I? Is this a dream sequence? Right.
Extraordinary. Yeah.
That's amazing.
That was
then just continue rolling from there. The name got out there. People liked what they heard.
I started doing cabaret performances of my songs, and people liked them. And yeah, it just kind of built, the cabaret community is hugely responsible for any, every success that I've had, because that was the sort of entree of my work into this sort of New York awareness. And I also got a lot of encouragement, a couple of years after Stephen Schwartz called me, I got another phone call from Steve Sondheim, who had heard some of my songs and said, next time this was before I moved to New York in '92. And Steve Sondheim called and said, next time you're in New York, we've got to talk. Come over and we'll have a chat, which I did. I kind of knew who he was, but I wasn't really familiar with his work, which was a good thing, because I therefore wasn't paralyzed to even, be in the same room with him. And I wasn't too awestruck to interact and to benefit from his advice. And he said the same thing that Stephen Schwartz did, which is, I think you would have a knack for writing for theater. So that's what sort of shifted me in that direction, was that door kind of creaking open. So, your mic is off, sir.
You've had these wonderful conversations and sort of interludes with these people who are pretty extraordinary, and such blessing and luck to have these people sort of guiding and mentoring you and suggesting these things, right? Pretty a lot of blessing that came your way early on.
Great blessing, great blessing. And the sweet, sweet thing is I have found the bigger, I don't know if your other guests would agree with this, but in my experience, the bigger successes that people are, the more generous and kind and helpful they certainly have been to me. And it's nice to discover that people that you admire from afar, when you get to know them, are sweet, kind, open-hearted, generous people.
It could be because, and it probably happens in all areas of life, in all genres and all industries, that perhaps either the ones that aren't at those levels yet maybe don't feel comfortable enough, secure enough, credible enough, established enough to give advice and mentorship, or there is, the competitive nature. So if they're at the same level or at a level less than the level you've achieved, they might not be as willing to open up and tell you how to do this, or this is how it worked for me, or the secrets to making it easier. Where people who have done it, people who have mastered it, people who have nothing to worry about because they've done the accomplishment, they've lived it, are so appreciative of everything that's happened, and that people appreciate their work and love their work, that they're willing to share it. They're willing to show somebody else coming up the ranks how they can do it, and how they can maybe make it a little easier for themselves if they go down that road versus going down the dirt road or something. And sometimes, it's the competitive nature, where somebody that, it's like working in an office, and if the new person comes in, sometimes the person that's tasked with training them doesn't tell them everything, because if they appear better than them, then their job's at risk. So they only tell you a certain amount, and then you're on your own. So I think that's true a lot of times with people that have.
I think you've absolutely nailed that. I think that's exactly why.
Yeah.
But it's still, I didn't know anybody famous, for crying out loud, and suddenly to realize how kind so many of them continue to be in supporting what I do,
which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And
if after years of not having any support and writing pretty much in a vacuum for 25 years, which is why I've accumulated so many songs, to suddenly have people that I respecting what I do and saying, here, let me give you a hand, felt especially good.
Isn't that amazing? I have found that in my career as well, in broadcast media, like I mentioned during the top of the show, with somebody like a Regis Philbin or some of the other veterans in the industry. When you get a chance to break bread with them and converse with them, and they notice certain things in you that either remind them of themselves a little bit, there's that relatability, or they just see talent or passion or enthusiasm, or they see authenticity. They see somebody who's really doing something for the right reasons, for the greater good of humanity, the greater good of lifting people and putting smiles on their faces and entertaining them, informing them, educating them, making life sweeter than it might actually be in reality. Like you've noticed, I've noticed that as well. And we're in the arts, we're creative people. So I've noticed that from people that are up at even tip-top gold standard levels, who have said the same thing. And that's a beautiful thing, because you pay heed to that, you listen to that, because it's not that they're stroking you. They really want you to succeed. They want you to hone your craft and fine tune. And I have found that as well with myself, as I'm sure you do with your achievements as well, John. I find myself mentoring other people. I find a lot of people coming to me, Jim, I see you on TV or hearing the radio. You do this, you do that. I saw you on stage. how do you do what you do? And what do I do? And what am I doing wrong? And it's a beautiful thing when you're able to pass it forward, as I know you do as well. You probably get asked all the time from people, how do I be a songwriter? How do I do this? How do I do that? And
I have to. It's
they
interesting.
don't?
No, maybe they do. Have only done one songwriting masterclass.
Was that at Ohio State
No, it was
University?
actually at Northwestern University, and
Northwestern.
and it was under the auspices of ASCAP.
Yes.
And it was with Amanda McBroom, a wonderful songwriter. Has she been on?
She's coming on in a couple weeks as our guest.
Along with Anne. I mean, Amanda is just...
Barbara Blyer's here, see?
Got her for a good chord. Hey, Barbara, I loved Barbara's show, by the way. I watched it. It was great.
Yeah, she was a wonderful guest. I loved having her. And her husband popped on. It was wonderful.
You know, the thing about Barbara that I always noticed from the very first time I heard her sing is her pitch is impeccable.
Yes.
She's always right in the middle of the pitch that, you know, if you recorded her, you would never need to do auto tuning because her pitch is unbelievable. You know, but anyway, where were we? About people being kind and supportive
and teaching at Northwestern, the class.
So it's the only songwriting masterclass I've ever done, and probably the only one I ever will do. And I'll tell you why. Because it doesn't feel appropriate. It's not that I don't want to be helpful. It doesn't feel appropriate to tell somebody else how to write. It's such, for me, certainly a personal thing that I don't feel right influencing anybody else's process. I don't want to mess with that. It feels somehow sacred to me. And so I love to be encouraging. And I have, you know, young songwriters that will, you know, send me stuff to listen to. And I say, look, I'm not going to offer specific criticisms. I will hear it, and I'm happy to know who you are as an artist and, you know, get to know you better in that way. But the only thing I could teach somebody to do is to write the way I write, because that's the only thing I know. And I don't want anybody else to write the way I write. I want them to write the way they write. And the only way I think you can do that is do it, you know, and evolve and find your own voice, which for me, to whatever extent I've done it, has been a blessing in spending 25 years or so writing without any input. Because I just did what I liked. I wrote what felt right to me, and it evolved. And I got better, and I developed my own voice. So that's what I want other people to do in terms of their own writing. You know, it's easier to have somebody say, oh, just do this and you'll be a good songwriter. It doesn't work like that. You know, it's just, there's no easy roadmap except your heart, your own heart, and to follow that in terms of writing. I do, though, and it is, I would say, my favorite thing to do in life. I do master classes with performers, mostly college, sometimes high school, in performance of my songs. Because I figure, well, I am an expert on my own songs. And I have found over the 20-some years that I've been doing this, that I do have input in terms of performance, in terms of communicating my songs, at least, that has gotten a remarkable and sometimes profound response from the students and from the singers. So I love doing that. That is so much fun. And to see, you know, them grow in the midst of just doing it a couple of times and taking a little bit of direction is incredibly rewarding. Plus, I always, you know, get to play along with them and guide them with my accompaniment, which is joyful. And when one of their, you know, teachers will come up to me afterwards and say, I had no idea they were capable of that. It's like, getting
Amazing.
the best thing ever. So I love doing the master classes.
It's amazing because, they can't be you. They should be them. And I've had the same thing. That somebody will say, Jim, I want to be just like you. I want to be. I said, actually, you don't. You want to be you. You want to, I understand maybe certain characteristics or certain ways or something. But, I have my upbringing and family and experiences. You have yours. So celebrate that. I mean, there's certain techniques and formats, structural things maybe that can be similar, but we're all individuals and we all have something to give and say, and we all, have gifts that we want to share. So if you want to, because sometimes we're in a society where everybody wants to wear and be and talk and look exactly like the other person. You really don't want to do that. You want to be you. And maybe there's elements of some things you respect and appreciate in what that other person's doing and some of the things they've accomplished and maybe some of the roads that they might have taken. But as far as to want to actually be that person, well,
it's so easy. And I can understand someone making the mistake of, for instance, all of those writers who admire Sondheim. And I can imagine a young writer, certainly who hasn't had a lot of experience, thinking, okay, that's what good songwriting sounds like. So I'm going to do that. And no, actually, that's what Sondheim's good songwriting
That's
sounds
his version of it, right?
Your good songwriting doesn't sound like that. It sounds like you. But it is, I can see how it's a trap.
Right. And because you could stifle your own creativity if you're just trying to emulate just one other way or one other person's way of thinking.
Well, that's you're going to be is a pale approximation of them. Why not be a fabulous representation of you?
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah. And Linda says you should always encourage others. Absolutely. People appreciate your thoughtfulness. You never know who needs it. Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to take the audience on sort of a photographic journey here. We have some wonderful photos that our crack research department have acquired. And here's one that goes back to 84 with Pete Seeger. Tell us about this one, John.
Yes. Well, one huge thing in my life, a wonderful event, serendipitous event in my life that we haven't talked about is in 1984, I started playing piano, working as accompanist with two extraordinary women. One of them is a singer named Holly Near, Near, who is a brilliant songwriter, a brilliant performer from whom I have learned so much over the years. And we've continued to work together sporadically, even now, like 35 years later. But in 1984, at that point, nobody knew my songs. Nobody was listening. I was bussing tables. I hadn't even graduated to being a waiter yet in a restaurant in Santa Monica. And through a remarkable set of circumstances that are too long to go into, I ended up accompanying Holly Near and Ronnie Gilbert, who was the female voice in the group from the 50s called the Weavers, which included Pete Seeger. So one of the first gigs we did together was a group called Harp, which was Holly, Arlo Guthrie, Woody Guthrie's son, Ronnie Gilbert, and Pete Seeger. And we performed, hi Sarah, we performed at the Ohio State Fair. And it was historic and wonderful. And that's the first time that and again, it was the, pinch me moment. I'd never been on a stage that big, and I'd never been, I grew up listening to Arlo Guthrie's music, and here I was sharing a stage. So that and the subsequent years of playing piano with both Holly and Ronnie separately and together Actually, it was Ronnie through whom Stephen Schwartz heard my songs. So it's just the synchronicity was remarkable. But I oh, look at that. That would be Michael Feinstein, Amanda McBroom, and me at my 50th birthday party, which was held at Adam Gettle's loft in Soho. And Michael and I have known each other for over 40 years. We met back in the 70s when we both entered the Liberace piano competition in Whittier, California. And we happened to be sitting next to each other, and we both played Gershwin, and we both lost to a Russian concert pianist who, was of course brilliant, wonderful,
brilliant, yeah.
Probably never to be heard from again, but he won. And so we went out for coffee to commiserate and became friends and have been friends ever since. That would be the extraordinary, wonderful, just, I can't even come up with enough adjectives to hang on this woman. That would be Mary Rogers, who is the daughter, she sadly passed away, the daughter of Richard Rogers and the mother of my dear friend, Adam Gettle. And she was an extraordinary writer, as well as her father and her son. That would be me in the studio with Mr. Art Garfunkel.
Art Garfunkel,
a couple songs of mine, yeah. And that was another, it's like, I always love it. If someone had told the, 15-year-old me listening to Simon and Garfunkel that photo would exist and that we'd become dear friends, which we are, I would not have believed it, but he's just a doll. And there from the left is the brilliant composer, Ricky Ian Gordon, who writes primarily for theater and opera, and is just glorious in art songs. Next to him is Jake Heggy, who is a renowned opera composer and just genius. But then there's a woman, what's her name?
Audra McDonald.
Audra, the gorgeous, just heavenly Audra McDonald, and me. And I think that was backstage at a concert where Audra sang songs by each of us. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That is me with my dear, dear, beloved friend Judith Light. We met doing a movie together. I was coaching her to do singing for this movie back in the 80s. And we never got any work done. We just, talked, and at the end of our first 3-hour session together, she said, "I love you." And I said, "I love you too." we didn't know ever since. He's an angel.
And in the 80s, she was on Who's the Boss with Tony Danza on ABC too. Yeah,
that show was still happening when we worked together, and she got me into a filming of the taping of the show, which was fun. That would be, I think it was 2005, and I had amazingly was the first recipient of the Fred Ebb Songwriting Award. Fred Ebb, of course, was the lyricist half of Kander and Ebb, along with John Kander, who wrote Cabaret and Chicago, extraordinary work. And when Fred Ebb passed away, his estate and his nephew initiated this award in his honor that was not only prestigious, but it was a very hefty cash award, which I desperately needed because at the time I was writing what ended up being, having the good fortune of being a Broadway show called A Catered Affair. And I was writing it with that gentleman in the middle, Harvey Fierstein. And so needed the money to support me while I wrote the show. And the other, whoops, you missed. Let's go. Can we go back to that photo, or is it too late? Yeah. And then the gentleman on the left is sort of my surrogate father, my surrogate New York father, who I miss every single day. Harold Prince, or Hal Prince, who was a legend. And my heart, I mean, the dearest, kindest, most supportive, wonderful. Again, he was very much a father figure to me, and the world is much the poorer for him not being in it any longer. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And that is the other half of Candor and Ebb. That is the extraordinary, kind man, just the sweetest, kindest, kind of shy, delightful fellow, John Candor. Oh yeah, and that would be the extraordinary. How lucky am I? I just look at these photos and think I'm like the luckiest guy in the world. That would be me with Barbara Cook, who had just, I believe, sung a song of mine called Sweet Dreams at the Metropolitan Opera. And she was the first non-opera singer, female certainly, to do a solo concert at the Met. And in it, she included one of my songs. And then she had a party at her house, at her apartment afterwards. And that's where we were. She was a light, just a beacon of light. So those are two guys who look like they're about 12, and they probably were. Remember that songwriting masterclass that I mentioned at Northwest University? Well, the two young fellows, young writers who knocked all of us out were Pasek and Paul. And on the left is Justin Paul, and who primarily music, and on the right is Benj Pasek, who's primarily lyrics, although it blurs a little bit. And I'm afraid in that songwriting masterclass, I offered them nothing. I was of absolutely no use to them whatsoever, except that I loved what they did, and they were admirers of what I do. And so we became dear friends after that. And I got Justin an apartment in my building, and look what happened to them. It's been a pleasure to watch their careers skyrocket. That would be Elaine Stretch, whom I didn't know very well, but we had a lot of mutual friends, and I saw her at parties, and she deserves every bit of the legendary status that people give her. She was an absolute original, and feisty and brilliant, and one of the most dazzling performers I've ever seen. That is Debbie Reynolds, as you might know. We were in San Diego, and it was the opening night of a catered affair at the Old Globe in San Diego, where it ran before it came to Broadway. And George Firth, a name some of your viewers might recognize. George wrote the book to Sondheim's shows Company and Merrily We Roll Along. And Sondheim had introduced me to George, since we both lived in LA, and he became a friend. And so he came to the opening night of a catered affair in San Diego and brought his friend, my God, Debbie Reynolds, who had starred as the daughter in the movie version of A Catered Affair. So that was I love that these photos. Thank you so much for sharing them. I hope they're not boring people. This is the extraordinary Jonathan Tunick, who is an orchestrator par excellence, who orchestrated many of Sondheim's musicals, including Sweeney Todd. Just a glorious orchestrator, and we were fortunate enough to have him orchestrate a catered affair for Broadway, and we became good friends. He's got some stories, let me tell you, that Jonathan. He's got great stories. This would be me with another dear pal, Brian Stokes Mitchell, singing Grateful, I believe, at a concert at Birdland. And just another incredibly kind, and oh my God, and there is Sheldon Harnick, who best known as the lyricist for A Fiddler on the Roof.
Mm-hmm.
Was my neighbor in New York, lived about a block and a half away from me. And we would have breakfast every once in a while. And he also wrote the foreword to my second songbook called Its Own Life. And Sheldon kindly wrote the foreword for that. I think he's 92 now and still spunky. And
he has a very, very uncanny resemblance, especially in the eyes, nose, mouth, just the face itself, to Larry King.
Oh, I can see that.
Doesn't he look like Larry King? Wow. Like it could be his brother or cousin.
Maybe. But he's another just dear fellow. Brilliant guy, big heart. Oh, these are great. Oh my gosh. And there's somebody who's not 92 years old. That would be my friend David Campbell, who is an Australian star. And he sings on my Grateful CD and also sang, again, we're not, there's so many extraordinary things that I got to be a part of. One of which was a DreamWorks animated movie. And when Stephen Schwartz was working on Prince of Egypt and telling me about the process of writing for animation and the fact that you need to please so many people along the way, the writers and the director, and then the head of the, Jeffrey Katzenberg and all the important people. I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, I could never in a million years do that. To have all those people looking over your shoulder would be just terrible. And about a year later, I got a call from DreamWorks to write the songs for As If the Universe Was Tweaking My Nose. I got a call from DreamWorks. And David, I got the gig. The animated film is available if you want to watch it on probably Netflix and Amazon. And it's called Joseph, King of Dreams. And David, I got the gig of singing the lead role of Joseph, which was the spoken character was done by Ben Affleck. That would be the aforementioned Adam Gettle, one of my favorite people in the world, and truly one of the most brilliantly talented writers you could ever hear. If you don't know his work, do yourself a favor. And not only The Light in the Piazza, which won him a Tony Award, a couple of Tony Awards, but oh my goodness, there's an album of his called Myths and Hymns, which is one of the most glorious things I've ever heard. It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite album of all time. And I just feel so honored to know him. Oh, and see, that would be, you know who that is?
Carol Lawrence.
That's correct. That would be Carol Lawrence. She heard a song of mine and called me up and came over. I remember she sat on my couch and lifted she was wearing pants, luckily, and she lifted her leg up and touched her knee to her forehead and said, "I can still do this." And I was like, oh my God, you're Carol Lawrence. And she must have been, like 70 at the time, or in her, but again, another just bright light, angelic, wonderful person who's got really, really good stories to tell. That's a relatively new friend, Darren Chris, who I cannot get over how talented this guy is. He's just genius. He invited me to come and see him in both his Broadway shows. He was in How to Succeed in Business, and then he was in, this was after he did Hedwig and the Angry Inch, and dazzling. I had seen him on Glee, and we had some lovely conversations, but to see him do a whole show, his energy, his acting, his charisma, he's just genius. And I'm so happy for everything that's happened in his career. That's a long time ago. And that would be standing right in front of me is Vicky Randall, a percussionist who played on, most notably, I suppose, played on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, was in his band, but she's a wonderful artist in her own right. And then in the middle is Holly Near, in fact, that extraordinary singer and songwriter that I have accompanied for so many years. And to Holly's left, on the right of this photo, is basically a goddess. Do you recognize her?
On the
far right, the dark hair.
No, I don't.
Laura Nero.
Oh, wow. That does go back, that one.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Who wrote, Stony End and Stone Soul Picnic and
right.
Brilliant writer. And it's so funny, we're doing this little, very small music festival somewhere in the boonies in the Northeast. And Laura Nero was on the bill,
Wow.
Got up on stage with a little synth and a couple of other musicians, and I couldn't believe it. It was like, I don't even know. I mean, it's like, what you shouldn't be here. You should be in Carnegie Hall.
Mm-hmm.
That is me with one of my dearest pals. Both he and his husband have become two of my closest friends. I'm sure most people won't recognize him. He is a concert composer named John Corliano, most well known for writing the score to The Red Violin, for which he won an Oscar. He also wrote a legendary, groundbreaking opera called The Ghosts of Versailles, which premiered at the Met in 1995. He's one of the most revered concert composers in the world. And his first symphony got a Pulitzer Prize. I mean, it's just crazy. And Stephen Schwartz introduced us, and he and Mark, his equally brilliant husband, who's also a composer, became dear friends. God, who could that be? Let's just think about it.
Mary Poppins.
That would be my friend Mary Poppins. Truly, everything you
Class, elegance,
everything you would hope Julie Andrews would be in terms of luminous kindness, brilliance, intelligence, wit, charm, angelic qualities, everything you might hope. Multiply that by maybe 1,000.
Yeah.
You're getting close to how extraordinary. I could cry just thinking about her. I love her so much. We did 2 projects together. She turned my song Grateful into an illustrated children's book, of which I'm very, very proud. And also she asked me to write lyrics for a children's musical that she and her longtime musical director were putting together. And so we did that. And one of my favorite people, as you can imagine. And
yeah, one of mine too. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolute angel in my life.
Absolutely.
And I had been very sneaky because I know that she won't let anybody pay for anything. She's incredibly kind and generous. So I got to the restaurant, which was the Regency, at the Regency Hotel in New York, because she had a dentist appointment in that neighborhood and wanted to meet there for lunch. And so I got there early and gave my credit card to the maitre d' and said, don't let her pay, no matter what. This is on me. And she was horrified that I had.
It's like,
sorry, too bad.
That's right.
Got to be sneaky if you want to put one over on her.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that photo montage was so much fun.
I would say that the 2 people that I met in my industry of television that match what you're talking about with Julie, and I saw Julie actually 2 years ago when I was on a TV shoot. She was performing or directing a play at the Goodspeed Opera House in East Haddam, Connecticut.
Oh.
And we were having dinner at a restaurant, and she happened to be at a restaurant where we were doing our TV shoot. I got a chance to chat with her, and she was warm and gracious. The other two people I would say that I've met, well, Regis Philbin, definitely like that, but Carol Burnett and Florence Henderson, as real, as warm, as affable, approachable, funny, authentic. There are no airs about Carol Burnett at all, and Florence Henderson was the same way. Very warm and funny and real and sassy and saucy, and just really, really terrific people. And when you meet people like that that you have always enjoyed, and you meet them first professionally and then they become friends of yours, it's really an extraordinary thing, isn't it?
It's an incredible gift.
It's another one.
There's so much to learn from them. Oh, yeah. So much to learn from them about how to graciously maneuver life, basically get through life, and how to treat people, and how to, both, there need to be boundaries, of course,
right?
But that there is a way to be gracious and kind without being a doormat,
Right.
And there's so much to be learned. That would be the brilliant, dazzling, extraordinary Kristen Chenoweth. And that was opening night of Wicked in San Francisco before it came to New York. Because, as I said, Stephen Schwartz, has been my best friend all these years. And so I flew out for it. But there's another reason that I flew out for it. And that story starts in Maui. I don't think you know this story. It is the birth of the idea for Wicked. And Holly Near, this wonderful singer that I have accompanied for so many years, got pretty much the best gig ever. It was a women's music festival, and the woman sponsoring it said, "Look, come out to Maui." And I was she had me in Maui. I was like, "Yeah, of course." And we'll put you up in a hotel on the beach for a week and pay you, and just do one concert for this gathering. Yeah, thank you. So Stephen at the time was working on Prince of Egypt in LA, which is not all that far from Maui. So I called up and said, "Okay, I got the best gig ever, like next month. Fly out. I'll get a big hotel room with like 2 beds. We'll hang out on the beach in Maui for a week, and we'll get to have a holiday together." And he said, "Absolutely, of course." So we were there with Holly and another friend, and on a snorkeling trip. And we're on this catamaran on the beautiful waters of Hawaii, on our way to the snorkeling spot. And Holly said, "I'm reading the most interesting book called Wicked." And the book has been out for probably 2 or 3 years already. So it's not something that Stephen would necessarily have ever come across. Holly told us about it. And Stephen told me afterwards that the minute he heard about, first of all, he thought it was the best title ever for a musical. And the premise just, made him tingle all over with excitement. And he knew from that moment that he had to turn it into a musical. And when we got back to land, he immediately called his lawyer and said, "Find out who's got the rights to this. I want to do it." And he started pursuing, and actually Universal had the rights. And there I am, Stephen and Winnie Holzman, who wrote the book for Wicked, at that same opening night in San Francisco. And so if I hadn't invited Stephen on that little Maui trip, and Holly had not happened to read the book Wicked,
right,
it would probably not exist.
It's amazing how these things happen, right?
It's pretty incredible. Well, with all the incredible gifts Stephen has given me, not the least of which was encouraging me to come to New York and write for theater, which certainly changed my life. I am very happy that to have played a small part in having him create the masterpiece of Wicked. So,
and there's our wonderful Ann Hampton Calloway, who was a guest on the show just a couple of weeks ago. We had a fabulous time.
It was glorious, as always. She's such a diva and an angel, another angel. There are so many angels. Look at her beautiful, sparkling eyes. She's just, I could not adore her more. Again, I can.
You know what's interesting about her? She's a diva, but yet she's warm, funny, and approachable. Some people are divas where you got to stay like 500 feet back. Yeah. But she plays up the whole diva thing, but she really is like a very real, organic, authentic, warm, funny person, which is really amazing. Yeah.
Well, because she's spiritually connected.
It's right.
About ego. It's about the work. It's about bringing, allowing art to come into the world through you, as opposed to, it feels like I've said this to her and to other people to describe how it feels. It's not like writing a song. It's not the big ego trip of, look what I did, I'm spectacular.
Right.
Or look at this cool thing I found. It feels like a found thing that just happened to come through me that I can't really fully take credit for. And I know that Anne perceives it the same way, is you just open up to something bigger and let the art flow through you. Now, she's much better at letting it flow in the moment, certainly, than I am, but it's, and let's not forget the gentleman to her left. Do you know who that is?
Who's that?
That is one of the most brilliant lyricists ever on earth, David Zippel.
Oh, yeah, sure.
City of Angels,
mm-hmm.
A Woman in White, and has done, the Disney film Hercules. He wrote the lyrics to those wonderful songs. Another kind, generous, dear friend of ours. And what a sweet photo.
Really, really nice. Yeah. And then we have some covers here too. Let's talk about that one.
That would be the show that Harvey and I, Harvey talked me into writing with him. I was terrified. I'd never written a full-fledged, book musical, and he had to persuade me. You wouldn't think if Harvey Fierstein came to you and said he wanted to write something that he would have to talk you into it.
Talk her into it, right?
But he's just such a strong flavor. That is an album. I've done 2 solo piano albums, and the first one was called On Richard Rodgers' Piano, which I did piano improvisations on Richard Rodgers' piano, because I do that. It's interesting. I don't do what Anne does, where she makes up words on the spot. But what I do is play, and I've done this all my life, play piano and improvise versions of songs where I don't know where my fingers are going to go. So right. It's a similar spontaneous.
Do you have a preference between solo versus being backed by a full orchestra?
Well, I've never had the pleasure of being backed by a full orchestra. Actually, once at the Hollywood Bowl when Michael Feinstein sang Grateful and there was an orchestra. But generally, I like solo. I'm a bit of a control freak. So I like solo piano. Anyway, the last one was my second improvisations on Beatles songs. By the way, all of these things are available for download in all the usual places, or easily found links on my website, which, as you might suspect, is johnbucchino.com. So there's a link to my Patreon page there. There are accompaniment tracks. If people want to sing my songs and they would like to purchase an accompaniment track with me playing, they can do that. To all the songs on the Grateful CD. Whoa, you're whizzing through stuff. Can we go back to the Grateful CD just because that's so important in my life?
That's Grateful there.
Yeah, no, the one right before it, the actual CD cover. This is the book cover. That's the CD cover. This came about 20 years ago. 2020 is the 20th anniversary of this album, which very much changed my life. While people in New York were, starting to hear my songs and express interest in them, there hadn't been sort of a coalesced, sort of, one focal point, well, certainly not a recording of them in the world. And I had the opportunity, a fellow named Billy Rosenfield was working at RCA at the time, and he liked my stuff. And he had a little bit of money, not money to do a big full-fledged album with like an orchestra, but he asked what I might do with that money and how I would like to present my songs. And I called up people that I had met in the first few years of living in New York, which included, astonishingly, Liza Minnelli and Art Garfunkel and Michael Feinstein, who I knew, and Jimmy Webb and Patti LuPone, who had recorded a few songs of mine, and just, Kristen Chenoweth. And I asked each of them if they would be willing to sing a song, just piano and vocal with me, a song of mine. And every single one of them said, of course, absolutely. Let us know, where we're gonna be and what we're gonna do, and we'll be there. And they got union scale as payment, and we recorded this album and also a songbook, which came out at the same time of the sheet music for the songs, and it has really jump-started my career and was the most visible thing, certainly by far, that I had done to date. And then that wonderful Julie Andrews turned the lyrics of the song into this gorgeously illustrated children's book, which was another astonishing gift, and to work with her on that. That is It's Only Life, which is a musical review of my songs. And people had tried to put it, I don't know if you know, probably Jim, you do. It's really hard to put together a musical review. Because people want it to have a story, and they keep wanting it to have characters. And it's like, no, that's a book musical. A musical review cannot have those constraints on it. So Hal Prince, the extraordinary director that we saw a photo of earlier, his daughter, Daisy, who is also a brilliant director, wanted to put this thing together. And we came up with a way to order the songs. And it's a retrospective of my whole career, actually, up to that point, with songs I'd written over a 30-year period. And we found a way to put them in order where there's a progression, a sort of spiritual progression from living one's life from a place of fear to living one's life from a place of love. And it's as simple and as complicated as that. And that also became a songbook. And there have been productions of that show. There was an off-Broadway, and there was one in LA, and there have been productions all over the world. There was one in London last year. And anyway.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. Are we going to play any music? That's on Richard Rodgers' one. Yeah. Are we going to share any audio, any songs with these lovely?
We are. Yeah, we are. We're at 8:30 now, so yeah, we have some time to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Good. I just want to share. I'm so proud of what you've got.
Tell us about this one here.
Well, that's the one on Richard Rodgers that I recorded on his actual Steinway. And I just went into, it was actually Adam Gettle, Rodgers' grandson, my dear friend, has his grandfather's piano, and at the time had it in his loft in Soho in a recording studio. How convenient.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Heidi asked, what was your favorite piece that you've written?
My favorite song is a song called Unexpressed, which sadly we don't have a recording of. It's not one of the ones that I included in the recordings. But that is my favorite song. And interestingly, it is the one on the Grateful CD that Adam Gettle himself actually sings. Oh, you're going to come up with some piano playing.
Mm-hmm. We've got The Lady is a Tramp. We're going to play that for everybody.
That would be great.
Yeah.
From a concert I did at Birdland. So much fun. So much
Very
fun.
nice. Very nice. Love that.
Well, you can't beat those songs. My gosh, right?
No. Yeah. And everybody's loving it too. We're getting some great comments here. Willie in
Hey,
the Netherlands. She's still up at 2:30 in the morning watching.
Okay, I hope you don't have to get up early in the morning.
She doesn't sleep, I tell you. Well, normally she takes naps so she can watch our show, which is 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. But at her time, it starts at 1 a.m. And she takes naps. But I don't think she took naps today. She was just excited to be here with us on the show, as she usually always is. But Heidi says how wonderful and absolutely love the music. That is Linda in Florida. Marilyn in Canada says bravo. And Harrison in Southern California says great piano playing, and some really beautiful comments coming in from everybody. Really, really nice. And, playing in front of an audience, which nobody's really getting a chance to do right now, it's like the ultimate, isn't it? It's really a beautiful, beautiful thing to get the instant feedback, and just the energy that an audience brings is cool stuff.
If you can get out, you know this, I'm sure, if you can get out of your own way and not be self-conscious, which for a very long time
you were?
I was, yeah. And eventually, and somebody, Holly Near, again, this wonderful singer that I have worked with for years, said something that really struck me and I think was very, very helpful. And that is, instead of thinking of yourself, the person on stage, as a guest, think of yourself as the host. And it's not, you're not an intruder. You're the person welcoming your audience and making them comfortable. And if you think about making them comfortable instead of how uncomfortable you might be, you can be a lot more at ease.
That's what I do every day as a host.
At it, obviously, and the loyalty that you inspire in your listeners is really impressive.
They're wonderful people, really. Yeah, it's and Willie wanted you to know, no nap today. She stayed up for us.
Wow.
At 20 to 3 a.m. in the Netherlands. Linda says, great talent. How wonderful. Some beautiful comments. Now we have The Fool on the Hill, which is
doing a lot of piano stuff. Okay.
Yeah, the ones that we have here that were sent. This is nice. Let's send it.
Thank you, Jim.
You're welcome. Very beautiful. Very, very nice. Nicely done. Really. And people are saying they're loving the improvisation involved there too. They're picking that up. Do you like to do that a lot in your music oftentimes?
Well, and not with my music, it's sort of, it is what it is. But I always play, even with my own music, I'm accompanying, thank you, Heidi. If I'm accompanying someone on one of my songs, I tend to play it slightly differently every time in response to the moment. As of course, you need to do with your interviewing is, just respond to the energy in the room. And it's even, I can, I can do that even more when I'm just winging it. And that's how the recordings happen too. I just played every either Beatles song or in the first album Roger song in every way I could possibly think of. So it'd be like, My Romance as a tango, or, whatever wacky thing came through my fingers. And then I just took the best takes and then created the recording. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great. It's great stuff. And, it just brings us such joy when you hear this music too. And it must bring you joy as well in presenting it.
Yeah. Well, certainly with familiar songs, I like those two, obviously Beatles songs and Roger songs, which is why I chose those composers to do for the CDs, because everybody knows and loves those songs. And the other thing is, if I'm going to reinvent them and put, turn them on their ear a little bit, people know them, and then they can hear what I'm doing because they're familiar with the original. Now this, I see you've got coming up, is one that I actually, one of the rare, I don't usually write instrumentals, but this is an instrumental that I composed. It's called Progression. Yeah.
Very beautiful. Very, very nice. Really nice.
I'm looking at Marilyn. I'm looking at the comments, and Marilyn said, "Have you got words to it?" And in fact, the wonderful Anne Hampton Calloway, we did a concert here last summer in Tucson together, and she, being the brilliant writer that she is, she actually did write words to that. If you can imagine writing words to that complicated thing.
Right.
And
Because it was originally an instrumental, right?
instrumental, and she liked it and put words to it that have to do with both of us moving to Tucson and what it feels like to live here. So perfect.
Yeah, because you're not far from her, right? You guys are close by.
About a half hour away. She's on the east side. We're on the west side, but close enough to, when things calm down again, go over for dinner. You know,
I told her when I'm out to Arizona, if it's a TV shoot or what have you, we want to break bread. And she said, absolutely. So I'll let you guys know when I'm out there, and we'll
fun. Yeah.
We'll definitely do that. We've got some more here. Now this one here that I'm digging up.
It's going to be grateful or better than I. Either grateful or better than I, because somebody said we want to hear your songs. So those are the two that you have, or that would be great. You have one of those on hand?
Yeah, we do. We're working on getting it all together. It's amazing, all the production and technical prowess that happens behind the scenes here.
Maybe can I set this up while you're getting
Sure.
it?
Yeah, you should. Absolutely.
This is probably my best known song, as you might have gathered, since it's the title of my first CD and also the children's book. Did
you see that on the screen there?
Hi, Crystal.
British Columbia, Canada.
Yeah. So this performance of Grateful is by a guy named Sam Rabone, who is from Perth, Australia. And it's from the Australian production of our musical review, It's Only Life, that we did in 2011. And he, as you will hear, has an absolutely glorious voice. And I'm at the piano. They flew me down to Australia, which is one of my favorite places. Have you ever been to Australia, Jim?
That's one place I haven't been to yet.
Oh, it's really good. I've been like 8 or 9 times.
Yeah.
And they flew me down to play for the whole 3-week run of this show. And this is one of my favorite versions of my song, Grateful.
And here it is.
I've got a roof over my head. I've got a warm place to sleep. Some nights I lie awake counting gifts instead of counting sheep. I've got a heart that can hold love. I've got a mind that can think. There may be times when I lose the light and let my spirit sink, but I can't stay depressed when I remember how I'm blessed. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. In a city of strangers, I've got a family of friends. No matter what rocks and brambles fill the way, I know that they will stay until the end. I feel a hand holding my hand. It's not a hand you can see, but on the road to the promised land, this hand will shepherd me through delight and despair, holding tight and always there. grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. It's not that I don't want a lot, or hope for more, or dream of more, but giving thanks for what I've got makes me so much happier than keeping score. In a world that can bring pain, I will still take each chance, for I believe that whatever the terrain, our feet can learn to dance. Whatever storm life may sling, we can mold or we can sing. Grateful, I'm truly grateful. I am grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. Truly blessed and duly grateful.
Truly beautiful too, as well as grateful. That really is beautiful. Very, very nice.
That's a happy memory.
Mm.
You know, also, if I got to be in Australia, really, you have to go. It's fantastic. It's just, oh my God.
We have viewers that watch in Australia as well, and they always say they have a ripper of a time when they're watching the show. That's the word, ripper.
I love that their expressions are.
Yeah, so do
adorable.
I. Very enthusiastic, exactly. Can
Maybe-
one imagine how great the world would be if everyone lived by the words to this song, according to Todd?
Yeah,
Very nice.
you're right, Todd.
Wouldn't that be? Have you been thinking about music in relation to all that we've been going through in the last few months, which is unreal? I say it all the time, even on this show. I've said, I think there's only maybe 2 to 3 people who could have scripted what we're going through, which is extraordinary. And that would either be Steven Spielberg, Stephen King, or Rod Serling.
I know.
It's very similar to something they would think of. But has this been inspiring you in any way? All of the struggle and everything that we've been experiencing, the sadness and just to want to
It's
write.
You know, unlike our dear friend Anne Hampton Calloway, who is just bursting with creativity and
Yeah.
writing a poem a day and
Yes,
and songs and doing recordings. I'm kind of having the opposite response. I feel kind of paralyzed in terms of creating new work.
really.
It hasn't really.
Why do you think that is? Is it so overwhelming what's happening?
I think I'm just in overwhelm, and maybe things are going to sort of sink in, and then eventually those emotions will come out as music. But
There's so much loss and so much devastation
sadness,
every day, and it continues.
not to beat myself up for experiencing it this way when so many of my friends are being inspired by it, and I'm sort of, you know, having the opposite response of just like, I don't know, it's just overwhelming.
It's a very difficult time. It's a very difficult time, and that, yeah.
And in fact, just to bring her up one more time, we're having a phone chat, and she said, "So what is your primary feeling about this time, and how do you comfort yourself?" Because I think we all have to wrap our minds around it and find some way to be comforted or comfort ourselves. Excuse me. And I said, I kind of try to stay in a place, and it's not easy, of acceptance. You know, just, okay, this is what now looks like. And rather than railing against, the difficulties of this particular now, or wishing for the blessings of a different time in my life or in the world or different circumstances, I find it most comforting to just kind of be centered in acceptance of, okay, this is where I am. This is where the world is. This is where life is. What are the lessons that I can learn from this? How can I be kind and be helpful to the people that I encounter and respectful? That's sort of it. What is to be learned? What is the beauty in this moment now? Even with all the difficulty, there's always beauty. So what
really is.
What can I, what am I missing that is a gift here, that is a little nugget of beauty?
Families are being brought back together. They're cooking together. They're spending time together. Some people are going out in nature. They're gardening. Gardening has exploded this year. People are planting flowers and nurturing, and they're out in nature, and they're spending the time baking bread and making dinner. It's interesting. It's a odd, unusual, uncharted, uncomfortable time, but yet it's everything has stopped to where we're being reminded there are basic, simple things in life and blessings and joys in life right in front of us that we really need to pay attention to and nurture, as opposed to always going for the brass ring and the buzz and the bling and all that stuff, the trappings of life. There's some things right in front of us that we need to savor and enjoy. And the fact that we're even here and alive and have health and, can go to the coast or can look at the sunset. Those things are powerful. And I think we're being reminded of all of that through the haze of the ashes of everything that's happening, which is touching the aspect of every nuance of our lives has been uprooted, flipped, stopped, paused, eliminated, new things coming in. It's really been unreal in the last, and this is just really a few months. It seems like it's been 10 years. Everybody's like, let's eliminate 2020 and let's accelerate to 2021. But it's not necessarily the calendar, it's what we do with the time.
My favorite definition of this period of time that I've heard, I love this, is someone, I don't know who said it, but this is Mother Earth sending us all to our rooms to think about what we've done.
Yes, that's what I said. Yeah.
Isn't that great?
This is a combination, I believe, of planet Earth, Mother Nature, and the divine coming together and saying, you know what? We gave you this beautiful planet. We gave you life.
I'm out.
And you're fouling it up. You're attacking each other, all the arguments, the divisiveness. You're destroying the land. You're just really interested in just the celebrity nature of everything, and the stuff that has no real foundation, and just the buzz and the bling and all the nonsensical stuff and all the instant gratification, and that's it. And you're not really appreciating the things that absolutely matter, which is the fact that your heart's beating, which is the fact that maybe you can call and speak to a loved one and they're there on the other end of the phone. Time is limited. Time is short. We're given a certain amount of time, and we can either blow it or maximize it. So I think those three energies, divine, earth, Mother Nature, came together and said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to stop everything. We're going to throw in a few of these things, not just economic, but health, societal unrest, all of it, throw it all. And let's see what those people, those humans globally do with this. And will they find a way out? Will they find a way to come together, collaborate, create, listen, love, empathetic ways, kindness, be more friendly, appreciate the simple things in life? Will they do that, or will they tear each other apart? Right now, we're still in the stage where I think a lot of tearing each other apart, but hopefully we will go to an area and rise from the ashes where things are more loving and more empathetic, and music and art and gardening and nature and all of these things, and nostalgic TV shows and watching old movies and baking bread with the family. All those things are little things that we can do to maybe get us through and remind us that we're here for a reason and we have a certain amount of time. And it's so much better when we are together than when we're apart. And I think we were growing apart. I've said it 100 times on this show and elsewhere. We were already socially distancing before we started socially distancing. Our heads were stuck on our cell phones. Everybody was just worrying about what somebody else was doing on social media. People would be at a diner, everybody on their cell phone, nobody even talking. So we were already socially distancing. And now that we have to, nobody likes it. So it's a little taste of what it could be if we kept going in that direction. And I don't think the normal that we were experiencing was as great as we thought. So hopefully we'll be going to better together.
I agree. And I think that I've been reading things. I don't know if you're interested in or know anything about astrology.
I'm a Libra, balance and harmony.
Well, there you are. And I'm a double Scorpio. But I was reading, I'm desperate for, positive takes on everything. And one thing that's very helpful is astrologically, we're coming into a time of more feminine energy, which I think is fantastic. I think we need that certainly in the world and in leadership. And also that December 21st is actually the sort of official, when everything clicks into place, beginning of the Aquarian age.
Aquarius, that's what I heard, yeah.
And it's been coming since they wrote Hair back in the 60s, because it's a big time frame. But that actually when things really click into place is December 21st. So I'm hanging on to that, and that means there's going to be a wonderful energy shift toward all the things that you just mentioned: more heart, more kindness, more equality, more support, more all those wonderful, more togetherness, more art, more beauty in the world, more awareness of nature, all those extraordinary things. I have to believe, and this is how I comfort myself, that we're headed in that direction, and that this is just the upheaval that needs to get the poison out. Bring the darkness to the surface so that we can weed it out and fill it with light.
It's like we have to take the steps back to go forward, right? It's filtering out some of that to bring us through the tunnel to the light, exactly, and a greater understanding of the purpose of life and why we're here. And exactly. I just wish that they didn't take Regis Philbin. Darn it, he was a wonderful light.
Or John Lewis, or any of the way extraordinary leaders and people that have gone.
I know.
There, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yes, right, exactly.
That's scary. Oh gosh.
Oh yeah, that of course, absolutely. She's amazing. She is the comeback kid. She just continues to come back, and the world needs her. Absolutely.
A little bit longer, Ruth. God, we need you.
There's more work to be done.
Oh, you're doing. Okay. Well, this is an odd one. I don't know exactly why I sent it. I think because I just wanted to have something of me performing something of mine and singing it. Although, as I said, I'm not not the world's greatest singer. This is a newer song, which may have some resonance or relevance to people, to what's going on today. It's called "Learn How to Say Goodbye."
It's perfect. It's a perfect close, I think, for everything. So let's enjoy this, folks. Learn how to say goodbye. It's going to be really, really touching. Here we go.
Suddenly finding myself with a book and pen, hearing this fickle muse whispering once again. Maybe there's something important she needs to share. Maybe I'll write it down. Maybe I'll really care. Things change, things die, she says. Learn how to say goodbye. Things fall, things fly, she says. Sun like a rubber ball floats in a sea of sky. Danger lies waiting in even the lightest touch. Friction will break your heart if you let it mean too much. My knees are knotted from kneeling before your throne. Time that I hobble off peacefully on my own. Things change, things die. Certainly you and I. Things pause, things pass. Surely this patch of grass, surely this sparkling day, maybe it's all okay. Natural as a cloud covering the sun, natural as the dirt covering the loved one, natural as a laugh slipping through a mask, natural as the questions a child will ask. Tell me, how long can a hummingbird hang midair, not going up or down, placidly hovering there? What kind of toll is it taking to flap so fast, simply to stay in place, watching the world slip past? Things fall, things fly. There was a time I'd try. Things change, things die. Even the Milky Way, even the USA. Things fly, things fall. Sure as a boy with wings longs to look down on things. Wings singe, wings fail. Better to trust the sail of a sturdy ship at a steady clip as you head for home.
Very nice. Very, very nice. That's beautiful. Again. So do you like singing? Do you like taking on the vocal aspect of things, or
I just wish I was better at it. You know, I mean, you know, and you can get away with a little bit of not being great because it's like, well, singer, songwriter, and it's like, you know, you hear it, there's a certain charm to hearing writers sing their own stuff.
to do their own material, right?
You know, I capitalize on that as much as possible. But, you know, I wish I could sing like, you know, some of my friends. But, oh, well, we don't all get everything. That's okay.
Hey, yeah, I thought it was great. It sounded terrific to me. And again, you know, you're singing it from the heart, the passion as the person who is creative. Are there certain songs that for you are like the top few that are just the ones that not necessarily that they were as commercially well received, although that could be on the same list, but just ones that really speak to your heart the most that you have shared with us, you know, through your incredible art form?
Oh, thanks. Well, none, you know, have been really commercially successful. I you know, I haven't had songs on the radio or, I mean, I guess I do like Sirius, the musical theater channel plays some, you know, some of my stuff, which is, I love it. and appreciate that. And but generally, it's not what I thought I would have when I was younger, which is a pop career as a performer, and making sort of confessional series of albums where people would follow my writing and creative process and sort of like my voice and my writing voice and want to follow that. That didn't happen, and as I guess a lot of people, you just have to walk through the doors that open and let the river carry you, as opposed to trying to swim against the current. And this is where the river carried me to. And within that, there are songs. I'm very proud of that song. That's why I did.
Very nice.
I always like when they come through me and they feel bigger than me.
Right.
And I listen back to them, or I play them or share them, and I think, how the heck did that wow.
Where did that come from, right? What inspired that?
What a gift that was. So, I feel that way with Grateful, of course, which is probably my best known song. If you're going to be known for a song, that's a good one to be known for. I like what it says. I like Learn How to Say Goodbye. As I said, I like my song Unexpressed is my very favorite, which is on the Grateful CD sung by Adam Gettle. I'm especially proud of that. I just actually wrote something. It's the most recent big project, and it was for the Boston Gay Men's Chorus. And it was based on a children's book called A Peacock Among Pigeons. And it's about little Peter Peacock, who finds himself living among pigeons who tell him he's ugly, he doesn't fit in, he's too flamboyant, he doesn't belong, and they make him feel really bad about himself, to the point where he finally needs to leave and go into the world to reconnect with some kind of self-esteem, because he feels terrible because and he puts like mud on his feathers to try to make them drab, to try to fit in and look like a pigeon, and it rains and it gets washed off and his bright colors pop out and they make fun of him again, and oh, you're going to play better than I. Well, anyway, it's a 30-minute piece that I wrote for the Boston Gay Men's Chorus, which was about to be premiered. And then COVID hit, and 4 days before it was supposed to be premiered, with 200 voices in a small orchestra in Boston, it got canceled. So I'm very, very proud of that.
This is an exclusive treat that they're hearing tonight.
Well, it talks about self-esteem. It talks about all the things that everybody, needs to hear, that who you are is good enough. And it is fabulous. And whether it's your sexuality or your artistic approach or whatever, I really believe that. So I'm proud of this, A Peacock Among Pigeons, which will be out in the world whenever choruses start singing again. This song, Better Than I, was written for the DreamWorks movie that I did the songs for back in 2000, I guess it came out in 2000. It's also 20 years old. And it is the point where Joseph is at his lowest ebb. He's in prison. He's miserable. He's had everything taken away from him, and he's tried to control stuff, and it didn't work. And so he is turning it over to a higher power, and in his powerlessness, he realizes that that God, if you want to call it God, if you want to call it a higher power, has got his back, basically. And this is David Campbell singing the song from the movie.
And here it is, Better Than I. Let's enjoy together on the Jim Masters Show Live. If you're just joining us, very special guest is John BUCCHINO, and he's a renowned, of course, songwriter and musician, performer. I am your host, Jim Masters. Thank you very much for joining us. We're here nightly, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We simulcast simultaneously on YouTube and Facebook at Jim Masters TV. Lots of music for you tonight here on the show. Enjoy Better Than I.
and told you how to help me. Now just when I have given up, the truth is coming clear. You know better than I. You know the way. I've let go the need to know why, for you know better than I. If this has been a test, I cannot see the reason, but maybe knowing I don't know is part of getting through. I try to do what's best, and faith has made it easy to see the best thing I can do is put my trust in you, for you know better than I. You know the way. I've let go the need to know why, for you know better than I saw one cloud and thought it was the sky. I saw a bird and thought that I could follow. But it was you who taught that bird to fly. If I let you reach me, will you teach me? For you know better than I. You know the way. I've let go the need to know why. I'll take what answers you supply. You know better than I.
Very nice. Very beautiful. It really is really, really beautiful. So tell us again the backstory on that one. That's the one that was going to be performed.
That was from Joseph, King of Dreams. And that's my friend David Campbell, who actually is one of the hosts of the Today Show in Australia, in addition to being an extraordinary movie. We did an album together. I think you had a photo of that too, called David Campbell Sings John BUCCHINO, which we did in 2014 and did an Australian tour. And there's a concert video of that, which we actually showed in movie theaters in Australia. I'm a much bigger star in Australia, actually. And maybe that's why I like it so much.
Jerry Lewis was bigger in France.
Yeah, Australia, I think, is my France. But I love it there. And David, of course, as you could tell, sings it gloriously. And that was from the movie. He didn't get the job. I had him do the demo of that song. He almost did get the job. I had him do the demo of that song, and I sent it into DreamWorks. They loved him, but he lived in Australia, and they didn't want to spend money to bring him to LA to record, and they thought it would just be too complicated. So, do you remember the Lennon sisters who were on Florence Welk? One of their sons, a guy named Kip Lennon, got the gig. And but I was, heartbroken. I mean, the game was fine. He was perfectly good. But I was disappointed that my friend David didn't get it. And Kip recorded this song, that song Better Than I. And I remember sitting in a screening room with the bigwigs, including Jeffrey Katzenberg. And he was sitting in front of me, and I saw him turn to the guy next to him and say, I like the other guy better, which was my friend David. And so I had the great thrill of calling up David and saying, guess what? You got the gig. And he recorded it, and it's absolutely perfect. This one that you're bringing up now, I forgot that I had sent you this, is it's the demo of a song from the Broadway show Cater to Fair. It is sung here by my brilliant, wonderful friend Milena Govich, who is now a TV director and a film director. But as you'll hear, she's also a wonderful singer and a wonderful actor. And this is the moment in the show. It's about a family and giving their daughter a wedding that she really doesn't want. She just wants to elope, and they've kind of forced this wedding on her. And this is a moment where the daughter is in the bridal shop with her mom, looking in a mirror, trying on wedding dresses. And she puts a dress on, and she's no nonsense. She's not a girly girl, and she doesn't care about this stuff. But she puts the dress on, and something miraculous happens to her.
One white dress.
I wasn't one of those silly little girls, those perfect pink and frilly little girls who long to wear makeup, just aching to cake up their pores. Makeup still bores me. I never mooned over bridal magazines or sappy wedding scenes I saw on movie screens. And I might as well fess up, I never played dress up and such. So why am I enjoying this so much? Who would imagine that one white dress could totally spin my head around? I would be an emotional mess over any other dress I found. I've never been one for shopping till I drop, or squeezing into outfits tight enough to pop. And primping, I hate to, I usually can't wait to be done. But I have to admit, this is fun. What is happening to me? I've been sensible all my life. Maybe I need this little spree before I'm somebody sensible, practical, serious, and eventually tired, old, worn out wife. So I'll do those strange things that everybody does, acting like the fool I never thought I was. Pop will throw some old tux on and spend lots of bucks on the show. It really sounds crazy, I know. Who would imagine that one white dress could easily shove all sense aside, fill up a room with happiness, and turn a practical, rational, serious, plain Jane, ordinary girl into a giddy bride.
Great one too. That's another fantastic one.
That was great. Yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
Harvey gave me the title. Got to give him some big credit there, because in writing the show, most of it was very organic, and it came out of the script. He wrote it as a straight play with no big holes saying, write a song and fill this gap. It was written all the way through. And then we talked about where we would take out what he wrote and replace that with a song. But except in this particular spot, it was the end of the scene, and he said, now she needs to just stop and sing a song. Oh no, this isn't the one. You know what? I'm telling you the wrong story. Never mind.
We'll just rewind.
Yeah, we'll erase that. No, that was a song that somebody mentioned. I was looking at the comments called "Don't Ever Stop Saying I Love You." That's the one that Harvey said. Write a song here called "Don't Ever Stop Saying I Love You." I was like, yeah, that's a great title. One White Dress happened another way. Sorry.
No, that's good. That's good.
Right? But that's the demo. That's not even the Broadway recording. That's just a demo that we did in my little apartment on my little 4-track.
Well, I got to tell you, this was an extraordinary evening. I can't believe it's been 2.5 hours.
Oh my gosh, I know. Sorry for yammering on so much.
It's been wonderful. Everybody's enjoyed it. Some beautiful comments from our faithful, loyal viewers, lots of new people. Anybody that joined us tonight, I welcome you to join us every night, because tomorrow night we have Ann Kittredge joining us. It's going to be wonderful. And Thursday, Damien McGinty from Celtic Thunder and from Glee on Fox is going to be with us. And Sean Kanan, the actor who was A.J. Quartermain in General Hospital on Saturday, and a lot of other productions. And of course, we have John tonight sharing all this wonderful music, the backstory as well. I know a lot of people like to hear the behind the scenes, the making, what's inspired somebody to create wonderful music like we've been enjoying tonight. Just a small spattering of his illustrious decades old career. But John, again, the comments still continue to come in, and we love that, because the show is it's an entertainment lifestyle talk show series with lots of love and lots of thank you for a great interview. Very nice to meet you. Canada, loving it. Willie is still awake.
Jim, thank you again for doing this, for providing this opportunity for performers who, especially nowadays, aren't getting out and performing, and you're showcasing such extraordinary an array of people.
Guests of all kinds, yeah.
And it must be so much work to put it all together. I can't imagine how you can do it every night. So bravo, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you. And raise a glass. Do you still have your glass there? Because we'll toast.
Tonic water, but
we'll toast with the guest. Clang, clang. Clang, clang.
Absolutely.
We always try to do it where we don't spill it on our laptops.
Oh, well, it's been just a joy, and time flew by
in a New York minute.
Well,
and you know who else enjoyed himself tonight?
Who would that be?
George.
And
he loved it.
There was a lot of levity, and I appreciate that. That's a good word. I like that. So
it's been a pleasure, and this has been the loveliest way to catch up on what you, John, have been up to the last 30 years. And Sarah, thanks for watching on YouTube at Jim Masters TV. I hope you'll watch regularly. This is just a sample of some of the amazing things we do. Good show, lots of great comments, everybody enjoying it from all around the United States, Canada, and around the world. John, I really hope, I wish you continued success, great health, continued blessing. You're welcome back anytime. When you're back here on the East Coast, we can get together. When I'm out that way,
Ann and Kari and me in Tucson. Absolutely.
That would be fantastic. We'll come break bread and toast. And I hope you enjoyed your time with me as much as I have with you here.
It was just wonderful. Yeah. Thanks to everybody, your wonderful, wonderful viewers for listening.
It's our pleasure. You stay healthy, you stay well, keep creating, keep those juices flowing. And if you ever need, I know you've been watching the shows too, which I appreciate. If you ever get down, just watch this show and we will all lift you up.
You do. It's beautiful. Thanks.
And beautiful words from Sarah. I love the depth of your question, Jim. We'll be back. Thank you very much. Typical Libra, all about balance and harmony, which is not always easy to master on Earth. That's why I say maybe I should have been born on Venus, planet of love.
It's okay. You're doing
what everybody says. That's what they say. They say we need Libras to sort of create balance and harmony. Otherwise, the planet would implode. Thank you. You're welcome, Renee in Iowa. John, my friend, thanks again. It was really a blessing and a joy. Wonderful having you here, and you keep creating. And Todd says he looks forward to hearing the Peacock concert.
Me too.
So, all right, my friend, you take care, and we toast you. And it's a pleasure having you grace us here on the show tonight. Take care now. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for sharing all the music too. We appreciate it. Good stuff. All right. Great, wasn't it? And yes, do you know that I interviewed him on public television on PBS, Women Are From Venus? John Gray, you know John Gray, who wrote that book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, that whole series. We had him in the PBS studio several years back, and it was really, really cool. It was a fun interview, and it was a lot of fun, and he was really amazing. So Women Are From Venus. And Linda says, enjoy the interview very much. Just a normal girl from Alabama, but really enjoy the interviews always from Jim. Well, thank you very much. And you're very special there in Alabama. And we're very happy to have you here nightly, Linda. You've been watching. So tell all of your friends in the South to turn us on, tune us in, and share the love every night. We are here 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, with a myriad of different guests from television, music, film. We're going to be bringing in some gardening experts. We're bringing in some chefs from a lot of different genres too, because again, this is like an entertainment lifestyle talk show series, like a television show. So we've got a lot of cool people that are coming in from a variety of different backgrounds because I like variety, and we all have something to learn, and we have different audiences tuning in. So I want to make sure we serve the interests of the audiences, but also a lot of people like when just you and I are chatting too. I've noticed that we did a pop-up show on Saturday. I couldn't believe it. I just threw something up in 15 minutes time, and I was going to do like a 10-minute hello Saturday, all casual. And we chatted for an hour and a half, just you and me, the viewers. And it was cool. I think we're going to do some more of that because being a host all these years on television, radio, I love conversing with my audience. I like lifting people up. I like having a good time and sharing information, wisdom, knowledge, education, levity. You can do all of those things. Some people think you can only do one at a time. No, you can wrap it all in neatly if you know what you're doing and you care about it. So good stuff. I am your host, Jim Masters. We offer that you relax, you breathe, you take care of one another, love one another, share all the levity, and to make sure that you check in with us nightly at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Tomorrow night, again, as I mentioned, we have a wonderful guest. She's all excited. We've been chatting back and forth, getting ready for her show. She is a brilliant singer as well, a wonderful performer, very talented, Ann Kittredge. And she's going to actually perform live for us as well. She's going to perform live during the show tomorrow, Ann Kittredge, tomorrow night. And again, on Thursday, Damian McGinty is going to be here. He's a dear friend. I've interviewed him multiple times over the years on public television, member of Celtic Thunder, that very popular group. He starred on Fox in Glee, that very popular TV series. He's got a brilliant solo career, a new album out. He's also going to perform live. He said, "Hey, Jim, buddy, do you want me to perform live?" And I said, absolutely. So with me being Irish on my mother's side of the family, there's going to be a whole lot of Irish in the house on Thursday night, and we hope you join us. And again, on Saturday, the wonderful actor who played A.J. Quartermain in General Hospital, the soap opera, and many other brilliant performances. He's a terrific actor, television, film, all of it, stage. Sean Kanan is going to be here on Saturday night. That's right, exclusively here. So that's really cool stuff. So we've got some great guests. And again, just another thing that I always love to show you guys. I live here along the coast. We grew up on the coast. So find your special place. Mine is the ocean. The ocean speaks to me. I love the mountains. I love everything, but the ocean is my place, my go-to place. And I love to spend time there. It's solace, it's peace, it's beauty. Don't forget, folks, to smile as often as you can and share smiles with others. We appreciate that. The world appreciates it too. Relax, breathe, take care of yourself. We always show that at the end of every show. And just, my star moved over here. My God, I really do need to be an octopus. How did my star move over there? I might be the star of the show and the host, but and the producer of the show, but I think you guys are the stars. You and you and you and you. You guys are the stars as well. Lots of stars in the sky and lots of stars right here on the Jim Masters Show live. So we thank you for joining us, everybody. We toast to all of you. We also thank our great friends at LMG, Life and Music Group, for all of their wonderful support and love as well. We appreciate them very, very much and everything that they do. And of course, we appreciate all of you here on the show. Back tomorrow night, live with Ann Kittredge. Come to British Columbia, Canada, the coast and the mountains in the same beautiful breath. Love to do that. You know, we have relatives who actually founded a town and a mountain in New Brunswick, Canada, on my mother's side. My mother's mother, so my grandmother's side, they founded Kierstead Mountain and Kierstead Falls up in New Brunswick. And we have 100 more relatives up in New Brunswick. It's really, really nice. Yeah, good stuff. And performing live, she will blow you away. That's Ann Kittredge tomorrow night. She's going to perform live just for us. She said, Jim, you want me to perform? So she's going to perform a song for us as well. Bye, Renee. Thank you. Willie, I thought you were going to bed an hour ago. You're still up. What a trooper you are. Late in the night here. All right, gang. Love you all. Thanks for being with us. This was quite an extended show here. But I am now going to watch something that I recorded on my DVR. ABC did a wonderful and beautiful special. ABC Television Network here in the United States did a wonderful special looking at the life and times of my good friend and yours, Regis Philbin. And we're going to watch that next because I was recording that as I was hosting this. Again, paying more homage this week to our dear friend who we lost, who all of us lost, the wonderful and incomparable, from one host to the other, Regis Philbin really, really set the tone. One of the great, great hosts, television hosts and personalities. So many wonderful stories. Good night, Mr. Levity. Good night to you as well. Again, we thank our very, very special guest, John BUCCHINO. Wonderful conversation, wonderful tales. Really, really good conversation. I really enjoyed it, and great music to boot. And hopefully you enjoyed it as well. There he is. We say good night to John in Arizona. They're in Tucson, and we thank you for all the time. And 3:43 a.m. late, and yes, rest in peace, dear Regis Philbin. All right, we're going to sign off, everybody. We thank you for being with us. Share the love and light. Tell everybody about our series of shows. You know, some of them are longer than others. We usually don't always go this long, but we had a lot of content in this show that we wanted to share with you, a lot of photos and memories and music. So we extended it a little longer, but you guys were here with us for the whole ride, and I love it. So, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time. Till next time, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. I will be here, and I hope you are too. Good night, everybody. We love you all. Thanks for being with us. Be well, and you just enjoy tonight, the rest of the night, and tomorrow. And if you're watching in Australia and New Zealand, good day, because your day has already started. See you again soon, tomorrow night, right here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Good night.